Ladies and gentlemen, please do remain standing for the national anthem, Negaraku. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Now, before we begin our program for today, ladies and gentlemen, allow us please to humbly seek the blessings of the Almighty for a successful event. For that, I'd like to welcome to the rostrum Encik Mukri Zawawi to recite a short doa on our behalf. Dipersilakan Encik Mukri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, hanya padamu sahaja kami panjangkan kesyukuran atas segala rahmat dan berkat-Mu. Bersempena dengan majlis pada hari ini, kami memohon inayah dan taufik-Mu, kurniakanlah kesejahteraan dan kebahagiaan kepada kami. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana haza jam'an mubarakan marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan mubarakan ma'suma wa la taj'alillahumma fina wa la ma'ana syakiyan wa la mahruma. Rabbana 'alaika tawakkalna wa ilaika anabna wa ilaikal masir. Allahumma tawwil a'marana wa sahih ajsadana wa thabbit imanana wa wasi' arzaqana wa hasin ahlaqana wa nawwir qulubana birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Engkau berkatilah dan rahmatilah Global Accelerator Program pada tahun ini. Permudahkanlah perjalanan program ini sehingga ke akhir program. Kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu-Mu, sinarilah hati-hati kami dengan cahaya dan hidayah-Mu. Semoga dengannya kami mudah menerima dan menghayati serta mengamalkannya. Allahumma inni a'udzubika minal barasi wal jununi wal juzam wa min sayyi'il asqam. Ya Allah, aku berlindung denganmu daripada pelbagai penyakit. Jauhkanlah kami, keluarga kami dan negara kami daripada penyakit COVID-19. Engkau berilah kesembuhan kepada saudara-saudara kami yang dijangkiti walau di mana sahaja mereka berada. Sesungguhnya tiada penyakit yang tidak dapat engkau sembuhkan, tiada mara bahaya yang tidak dapat engkau jauhkan. Kami bermohon kepadamu, Ya Allah. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbil Amin. Thank you very much, Encik Mukri. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to wish a very good morning and a warm welcome to all of you, starting with Yang Berbahagia Datuk Parang Abai Elias Thomas, Deputy Secretary General, STI Planning and Enculturation Sector of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, CEO of Magic Zulera Abubakar, participants of the Global Accelerator Program, Cohort 4, members of the media, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sheahnee Iman, and as your host for this morning, it is an honor for me to welcome all of you to the launch of the Magic Global Accelerator Program for Cohort 4 2020. Now, as we are all well aware, as reminded by looking at each other in this room alone, These past few months have probably been the most challenging period in recent history, not just for the world as a whole, but also on a more micro and, yes, even personal level. Startups that have already had to endure so much just to exist have had to be tougher and more resilient than ever before. And I'm not just talking about the entities, but also you, their founders. It is in this climate that the survivors of this devastation have proven that you, are more than equipped and hungrier than ever to start the next phase of their journey. What better time than to rope in the best of them for the golden opportunity proudly known throughout the industry as GAP, an intensive program developed by Magic that will put them firmly on a path for accelerated growth. With that in mind, it is an honor for me to invite the Chief Executive Officer of Magic, Zulera Abu Bakar, on stage for her welcoming remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, Zulera Abu Bakar.
Good morning. Assalamualaikum. Yang berbahagia, Datuk Thomas Parang Abai, Deputy Secretary General of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI Senior Management and Delegates, our esteemed board members, Ganesh Kumar Banga, who is here with us today, ecosystem players, investment partners, honored guests, and media friends. So this thing is distracting my view, sorry. Honored guests, media friends, and fellow entrepreneurs and startups. We are truly excited to have all of you here today. I'm told that we have about 100 people in this auditorium today, although it looks a bit spaced out due to physical distancing and all of that. But we are full house, and thank you for making time. Amongst us are also our participants of this year's Cohort 4 GAP program, and we also have a lot of you catching us live on FB Live as we speak. So thank you so much for all this support. I think I should also make mention that we've had the honor and the privilege of actually hosting a number of physical events ever since the sort of partial MCO was announced. It's a great honor for us. You know, we've been able to host so many entrepreneurs here in Magic. But unfortunately, we can't run the program physically as we would have hoped to, again, due to COVID. So the Global Accelerator Program is really our flagship program. We've been running it from its inception. We started with the Malaysian Accelerator Program called MAP, and then we sort of moved on to GAP, which is the global program, and we've carried it through. I think today with us, we also have success stories, alumni of both GAP and MAP, and you will hear from our alumni, DF Automation, a bit later. So I think that today, what we want to do is just sort of give you an introduction for those of you who may not know about GAP, tell you what GAP is all about, introduce our startups to you, and share with you what the program is all about and what we intend to do. And as Sheahnee rightly mentioned, it's a very challenging year, right? At the start of the year, we started off at a good start, but then it just went downhill ever since COVID hit us. And I think with that in mind, we wanted to pick up the pace. We wanted to give a platform and an opportunity for entrepreneurs, for startups, to actually find ways to bounce back, right? Just to let you know, we actually opened up for this program mid of March, right? We opened up for application sometime, I think first week of March, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, I was actually surprised because we weren't quite sure that we were going to get in applications, right? But we got about 400 over applications, which was actually quite surprising for us. And again, we had to notify that this has to be done virtually, because it can't be done physically. But this was slightly a lower number compared to what was done last year. Last year, we had over 1,000 applications, you know, and we only took in 25. So this year, we decided to expand the cohort a little. last year 25, this year we'll be taking in 40 startups, right? And as you will see through my presentations later, our focus is about resilience. Our focus is about bouncing back. Our focus will be to get you off your feet, right? Get you the right network, get you the right investments, which is why we're also signing up with our investment partners program, which I will explain to you. So let me just quickly jump straight into my presentation. For most of you, I think you're well aware in terms of what we do or what our role is within the tech ecosystem. We cover the entire value chain. We look at early stage, mid stage, as well as the late stage. And we've got programs tailored to each stage, targeting on the community part, targeting on validating your business models through the programs that we offer through our specific programs. And then we've also got product development, where you actually get to validate your product, test it, you know, and understand whether it works. And then the efficiency stage, and of course, growth. And we've also got mentoring platform, along with online courses to support any of your growth. Right? Yeah. Next slide. All right. So in terms of achievements, like I've mentioned earlier, GAP is not a new program. We've been running this over a couple of years right now. We've seen over 2,000 startups come through our programs. Not just GAP, but over Magic, right? In totality, we've got about 2,000 startups. We've impacted over 100,000 entrepreneurs. And these startups and entrepreneurs have raised over $140 million in total. And in terms of cumulative revenue generated, we've recorded about 325 million. Next slide, please. So this is a very sort of interesting statistic that we've actually managed to generate. What we actually did was, when COVID hit and MCO was actually announced, and this was 1 week into MCO, we announced a survey, and this was what we found out. The survey result was actually quite shocking for us. Although we kind of expected it, but the percentage in terms of the change was quite shocking for us. If you can see, right, 31% of startups actually recorded decline in sales. And you have over 17% affected through the slow economic condition. 18% had only 18% had financial stability. 7.3% were actually at the verge of bankruptcy. Right? Again, we did 3 rounds of survey. We did it in the first week of MCO, and then we followed up about a couple of weeks later, and we did another one in June. Of course, in June, we recorded a slight increase, but the messaging around the survey didn't quite change. Cash flow was definitely an issue, right? Now, assessing startup health during the COVID-19 period was something that we were very concerned about, and we did this assessment. The survey was one form of an assessment, and we noted that these were the types of sort of support that the startups wanted. So loans, grants, tax exemptions, and deferments, right? So it was quite surprising for us that loans actually came up the highest in terms of percentage, but it also sends a message that, again, it's about short-term financing, it's about short-term cash flow easing, right? So which is why I think loans came up as top. Yeah. Given the survey, and given what we've actually learned from the survey, MOSTI, MOF, as well as all our funding agencies within the MOSTI ecosystem at this point, came up with initiatives to support the startup ecosystem at this period. And the total value of support was in the range of 315 million. I think most of you here may have also been part of the support that has been sent out. Few of which would be through the Penjana Relief Fund. You know, we've announced 2 so far. We've got the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, as well as the Technology Special Relief Fund, which is announced under MDV. So all of these initiatives totaling up to 315 million. Yeah. Again, I think the whole focus is really to allow the necessary breather while you actually get back on your feet. Because we realized that shutting businesses down for 2 or 3 months actually impacted the whole cash flow cycle. Even if you get back on your feet, once MCO is lifted, the whole cash flow cycle is affected, which is why these interventions were actually given in the first place. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, one of the key initiatives that was announced under Penjana is the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, which I believe most of you are very familiar with, given our recent launch. It's an initiative by the government to accelerate local technology, local startups, and get them in, provide them the right platform to be accelerated, whether it's through facilitation, funding, as well as technology adoption. So we provide that platform to allow you to grow beyond. And we have 5 key sectors which we look at, which is healthcare, manufacturing, agri, education, as well as travel and tourism. So that's really the thesis around the sandbox. But the other initiative that was also announced is the Social Impact Matching Grant. Now, if you're a social enterprise, you're a social innovator, you're starting up a business, you're able to raise funds through this grant. It's actually a matching mechanism where you're actually able to go out and raise funds through donations. We've also signed up with a couple of crowdfunding platforms that will allow you to go out and raise donations. And you come to us, and we'll be able to match you one-to-one, right? It's $1 for $1. That's the matching mechanism. And the funding that is available right now is 10 million, and you can apply all throughout the year. The website is open. Applications are taken in right now. And so as mentioned, these are the few ways that we're trying to sort of help the ecosystem at this point. Again, it's not just a short-term measure. It is also long-term, looking at long-term economic recovery, long-term vision of a technology revolution in itself. As I've mentioned earlier, this really is the spirit of GAP this year. Right? It was, we sent out applications, we opened up for applications during COVID. We realized it's a tough year. It's not the same, businesses need to start operating differently, which is why innovation, resilience, and transformation, that's sort of the core theme of GAP this year. Yeah? Now, in terms of the overview, of the GAP cohort, we've not moved too far from how we operate in the past. We'll focus on 5 key areas, which is training and development, which is through workshops and sharing sessions. And then second part is where we focus on coaching and mentoring. We've also introduced something called the intensive performance coaching. Okay? This is, again, going back to the whole COVID situation where we realized that companies may need, or startups may need, a little bit more specified or tailored intervention. So which is why we've actually put in an intensive performance coaching as well as mentorship. You actually have an opportunity to have a one-on-one with these selected mentors. Thirdly, we have industry engagement, which will include educational visit, ASEAN connection through our networks, GAP investment partner. So this is something new that we have introduced in this cohort. Again, raising funds and investment readiness has always been part or the core of GAP. However, this year, we've decided to introduce partners as part of the program. So the whole objective is that we want these investment partners, we've got 20 of them with us today, we want our investment partners to be part of the program from the get-go. Mingle with the startups, understand what they do, socialize, and get to know them, right, over this period. And this will give the startups as well as the investors the opportunity to understand each other. And that's what we thought was sort of lacking in the past, and we wanted to fix that. And we're very grateful to our investment partners who were willing to sign up for this program. And they're with us here today. The fourth area is, of course, corporate. We focus on corporate, and this is also a core part of the sandbox because we actually want to focus on corporate network, either for corporates to be buyers of solution, partners, as well as investors to start up. Those are really the three key things. Now, in terms of alumni engagement, which is something that we also place a lot of importance, sharing sessions and entrepreneur in residence. I think we believe that it's always more meaningful to learn from somebody who has done it before. There's a lot of relatability there, so we emphasize on that, and we get a lot of this, our previous alumni to be part of our program. In fact, our speaker after this is also an alumni. Yeah. Fifth is cross-fertilization. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, the Sandbox is a very important program. It's not even a program, it's a national initiative, right? It brings together corporates, it brings together various ministries, agencies, and the various parts of the ecosystem to actually ensure local startups get the necessary support, right? Now, we've actually seen cross-fertilization in the sense that through GAP, we've actually seen 2 of our Sandbox applications admitted into GAP. Likewise, we would also assess GAP participants that would be suited for the Sandbox, right? So that's where we would do a cross-fertilization. Yeah. So this is really the demographics of our cohort, Cohort 4 this year. It's a global program. Despite the fact that it's virtual, we actually got international participants, right? Of course, majority is our Malaysian participants. And you have 3 from Singapore, Indonesia, Hong Kong, India, Myanmar, as well as Sri Lanka. Okay. Now, in terms of industry type and technology, we are spread across e-commerce, agri, food tech, real estate, education, fintech, travel, security, logistics, hardware, consumer internet. Again, this is a bit of a cross-fertilization with our Sandbox, which we focus on 5 key sectors, which is healthcare, manufacturing, agriculture, education, and travel and tourism. So as I've explained earlier, bulk of our applications came from Malaysia, and this is the breakdown of the Malaysian industry and technology drivers. I think this is quite self-explanatory. You can take a picture if you like. I won't go through this slide. Now, these are our esteemed investment partners. Now, they comprise of our government funding agencies as well as private sector investors. Right? These are investors that form part of our network. We have had them invest in many of our companies in the past, and now they are officially on board. So it's really up to you to convince them to make that investments. So I think, and it's not a hard and fast number, but I think in terms of commitment, we're looking at up to 3 million at the very least, right? So you would be able to raise that amount, provided you can convince them. Thank you. So that's a little bit about GAP, and I hope it has been quite knowledgeable, and that you found it useful. I will end my speech here, and I'll pass on to Sheahnee to pass on to our next speaker, who is also our GAP alumni. And also, DF Automation is also part of our NTIS pilot project. So you will hear from them. It's very, very interesting what they've done and the journey that they've been through. Thank you so much, and thank you for being part of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Zulera. So now you have a snapshot of what you can expect Cohort 4. It's very exciting, and most importantly, it provides a very clear roadmap for how to stay resilient in these challenging times. I really, truly wish all of you the best with this, because all of the tools provided here will definitely help you to power forward. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn our attention to the screen ahead for a short video presentation, because who better to learn what to expect than from the previous cohort before you? So to prepare yourselves what to expect, ladies and gentlemen, on the screen.
My name is Lance.
My name is Evelyn.
My name is Rai Chan.
Hi, my name is Muklis.
I'm Amrina.
My name is Zhong Wei.
My name is Yet Ping.
We are co-founder of Technology from Gap Cohort 3.
The co-founder of GA Alliance. I come from Gap Cohort 3.
We are Arteka from Gap Cohort 3.
We are Teleport from Gap Cohort 3.
We build smart vending machines that comes with contactless payments that is driven by IoT technology and SaaS cloud solutions.
GA Alliance is a digital accounting platform with a combination of technology and professional accountants.
Arteka, we design and develop block-based toys and robotic kits, which we focus in education and entertainment market.
Basically, Teleport is a modern tech school that enabling kids and teens to learn about computer science education. We aim to help our kids and teens to develop the skill and the confidence that they need in order to solve the real-world problem through coding.
We didn't get shortlisted into the 2017 program due to the incompetence of business model. But as a startup, we never give up. So we once again apply into the Gap Cohort 3, and where we get shortlisted and provide a good market access into the Southeast Asia expansion that helped us a lot.
Where I heard about Magic Gap program, I am sure that this program can help me a lot in terms of structure, the story of my startup, and also the business model set up from Magic.
Actually, in Gap, we have learned a lot. We learned how to pitch in a storytelling way so that people will feel emotionally connected to what we are saying. And we'll also learn about design thinking, business canvas model, product market fit, project management, people management, and a lot more.
One of the very important point for those who want to join Gap, right, is like myself, I actually learned how to build my technology with accounting together in that program.
Wow, there's so many things that we managed to learn during GAPS. One of it is how to set goals to our company. And I think the best part is how we are supposed to run the company profitably.
Networking with another startup and also discussion with another startup is the key point for me during GAP program.
So during COVID-19, interesting enough that we didn't actually need to pivot, but we actually focused on selling our products online. So luckily we managed to boost our online sales during that period.
We take more into digital approach as our essential survival package, such as online business meeting, work from home, and virtual visit to our factory.
So we pivoted during COVID-19 by transforming our offline class to online. In fact, we decided to pivot even before the government announced about the MCO. So we decided to go for the hard way. Although the way we have chosen is hard for now, but it provides the best learning experience for the students and high in scalability.
During Magic Gap Cohort 3, I actually learned a lot of things about the business model setup, not only from the very comfortable time, especially in COVID-19, we demonstrate a very good business model through our client. We are running the subscription business model, and it helped us to generate the income and also to help us to go through together with the client that we have during COVID-19.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, just some of the fantastic startups from Gap Cohort 3 2019. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the opportunity to hear for ourselves how Magic's programs have directly benefited the Magic alumni. And one day, Cohort 4, this too could be you. Our illustrious guest here today is well known for his work in the fields of robotics and inventions, and is currently in the spotlight for an association with a certain Matikya. I'll leave it as that for now, as a bit of a teaser. He is also so much more than that. A PhD holder from Imperial College London, winning over 50 awards nationally and internationally for his inventions, including the World Invention Award, among others. His companies have also been industry recognized, garnering accolades in the Alliance Bank BizSmart Innovation Challenge, the Cradle Coach and Grow program, and of course, Magic's MAP and E at Stanford programs. It is my pleasure to be able to invite on stage this alumni of Magic Accelerator Program, or MAP ASEAN 2015, the co-founder and director of DF Automation, Dr. Yong Chi Fai, to share his startup story.
Hello, good morning. I need to get my speech hold on, yeah. Good morning. Yang berbahagia Dato' Thomas Parang Abai, Deputy Secretary General, MOSTI. Duzera Abu Bakar, CEO of Magic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to be an alumni speech today. To be honest, it's quite interesting because back in 2014, I was sitting there where you are sitting right now, listening to some of the talk from entrepreneur. It was inspiring, it was motivating. And to be honest, now after 6 years, I didn't expect that I'm going to give a talk here. So thanks, Magic, for the wonderful opportunity. Before I start my slide, I'd like to congratulate to all the founder and startup that will be shortlisted for this Magic Cohort 4. And you're not going to regret it because I'm a very proud alumni. In fact, very, very important, one of the key takeaways is know your founder, other founder and startup, because the networking is one of the key, very important element to bring your business next. Oops. So I was given a topic called Startup Innovation, Transformation and Resilience during the pandemic. And it just happened that I have a company that actually went through this series. I'd like to share the story about this. And hopefully we can learn a little bit more on this. I'm an associate professor at University Technology Malaysia. I co-founded a few companies. 2 of them are DF Automation, Robotic, and Tech Innovation. So these are my content. I'm going to go through a little bit of an introduction. I will touch a little bit on the startup innovation, transformation, resilience, the story of Makcik Kia, and also some of the summary. And I've mentioned to you a little bit of, not say warning, I'm a lecturer, so I'm going to talk more. And Ame, please stop me if I exceeded my time. So I'm a lecturer that tried to build a startup. And why I'm doing that, I think just now Mr. Chairman did mention a little bit that I won a lot of awards. And as a lecturer, I like build innovation. I've been doing that for the last 10 years since 2000. For 10 years, I'm doing that. But all of a sudden, all the innovation are not being commercialized. So I think that I need to commercialize the product. So when I came back from UK back in 2010, I started to build businesses. But things doesn't work out as what I wish because I thought that business is very easy. Just like you build a business, you get a lot of revenue and become a millionaire, which is not. And we face a lot of challenges. And at one time there, I think that I need to learn how to do business. As a lecturer, I keep on telling the student, if you want to learn about physics, get a good physics lecturer. If you want to know about mathematics, get a good mathematics lecturer. But if you want to know and learn how to do business, you need to get a really good mentor and mingle around with other entrepreneurs and startups. So at that time, back in Malaysia, we don't really have that kind of an ecosystem and platform. And fortunately, back in 2014, Magic born. And when I see this program, I just joined. The very first program for Magic Pitching. It was a crowdfunding program. Basically, you need to pitch to get fund, and then you get prize as well. So we managed to raise 25,000, and we managed to get the grand prize another 25,000, altogether 50,000. So right after that, we joined Magic MAP program. This is back in 2014, so 2015. So basically, I'm your super senior. And right after, of course, I joined the East Stanford. It was mind-blowing. We visited places like Google, Facebook, and if you have a chance to visit DF Automation in Johor Bahru, we have places that look like a Google a little bit. We have a play area, we have the ping pong, we have all kind of the stuff. But one of the key third area that I mentioned early on is, of course, Magic gives you a wonderful full-fledged of training program. All kind of content, teach you how to do business and whatnot. But another key point that I'd like to emphasize again is your friend, your cohort together, or your network. In fact, for the last few days, I'm still talking to some of my friends and mentor to discuss how to grow our business together. Okay, I will use a little bit, couple of minutes to discuss about my businesses so that you can relate what kind of resilience and challenge that we have during the pandemic. So my company called DF Automation, we design robot for industry. This is my team right now. We start from 3 packs after 2012, 8 years already. We have about 60 staff. We have 3 branches. We exported to a few countries, Mexico, India, Philippines, Singapore. We have 13 awards, 14 RPA and whatnot. And our core technology is really the software to program the robot. We make it so easy that even our supplier, our customer can do the programming. Just show, so I just show. designed and manufactured in Malaysia. It's a made in Malaysia product. Thank you. Actually, I want to say something on the video, but the sound system is too loud, so I couldn't. So again, this is a robot that we built for industry, and that's how we started. And in fact, every now and then we get a lot of requests for different industry. So another example is a sushi restaurant. When you order a special sushi, normally the chef you bring to you. Of course, a normal sushi you can take from the conveyor, but for a special sushi, the chef you bring to you on the desk, and then that's it. But this time we can use a robot to send you the food. If you have been to like IY Mall, Deep House Malacca, and a few sushi restaurants, you may be able to see this robot, and this is air developed by us. So we tell the customer right now, your patron come to your restaurant because of the robot, not because of the sushi. Hopefully the sushi restaurant owner is not here. But. And then we do also smart manufacturing, where we actually connect all the robots to move together. We have a software doing that. And these are our customers. So we have been to a few countries. So actually this year we're supposed to penetrate to Europe market. And due to the COVID, we pushed that into next year. Yeah, that's a little bit about DF automation. So I think I will focus on the key topic: startup, innovation, transformation, resilience. And as a lecturer, I think I need to be very careful with the terminology. As usual, I just Google a little bit and say what is innovation. So innovation is really the action of process for innovating. And a lot of us think that innovation is about a product. Innovation is about a better phone. Innovation is about hardware and so on and so forth. But do you know that there is a lot more innovation just than a product? How many innovation that you think there is, they categorize? Is it 1, 2, or 5? There are actually 10 types of innovation. And in this innovation, is actually very focused on us, is on the product performance, which is an offering that we can see immediately. Go to the customize a little bit, is the experience, where you have customer engagement, brand, channel, and services. On the blue side here is all about your back end of your business. It can be your business model, it can be a network, structure, and process. And some of the very good examples that we know in the world is Dell. Dell is not just selling a laptop. Their process at the back end is very interesting. Vendor all the way to the customer. On the Dell, you can just click the manufacturer straight away with a very good price. Moving forward, Starbucks has a very good coffee, but more important is a process that actually they manufacture, not say manufacture, they make the coffee for you. When you travel around the world, when you try coffee, Starbucks, the tastes are exactly the same thing. Apple, I just watched Jobs a few days ago, and as you know, Steve Jobs, they actually emphasize the customer experience. They emphasize that it's not about the product, it's all emphasized about the new experience. And Coca-Cola is focusing on the brand. So every customer, every businesses, they use a different kind of innovation, and sometimes they actually have a few innovation in place in the business. So one example that I had, I'm a lecturer. I'm trying to ask my student to become a business person. And normally when they see me back in 10 years ago, they will run away. They say, Yong, you're crazy, I'm coming to study, I don't want to do business. But as we know, Malaysia economy or any country economy need SME to build up. So I think as a lecturer, I have a bit of a responsibility to encourage the build of a SME and startup. So then I come up with some option. I mean, normally option that we have is after you did your degree for 4 years, then you work first for 3 years because you get a little bit of capital. Right after that, you start your business about 3 years, it takes you 10 years. It may work, it may not work. Because after you work for 3 years, you get married, you got kids, they say, wait for 1 more year lah. After you wait until you never open your business. So that's option 1. Option 2 is right after you do your study, why do you just open a business? That's a problem. You don't really have a capital. You go to the bank, they will not borrow you money. So finally, I say that why don't during your 4-year study, the final project you use as a potential project to be commercialized? Or any assignment, because you need to spend time and money on it. So this is the approach that I try to push to my students for the last 10 years, and I have a few success stories. And now they're not only on the 4th year, I push into even start from 1st year already. Hopefully in the next few years, we have some serious job, doesn't have to finish their study and come up with some startup. So these are some of the case study that I had. This was my another presentation, but I just want to highlight. The one that I mentioned earlier on is academia entrepreneurship mindset. This is actually really a process innovation. How we change the mindset of a student become an entrepreneur. The other side is actually the channel. This is really the experience for the student learning. Because when the student they went to the university to learn, they learn about all technical stuff. But again, this gives them a chance to talk about entrepreneurship. And then I have done the talking glove. You wear the glove, you can talk. This is product innovation. NetWiz, the software that I mentioned earlier on, is a profit model, product system, and service innovation. And the next topic I'm going to talk to is about Machikia. Machikia is actually a robot to deliver food. Again, it's not about product when we design, it's about services. How can we help the frontliner to solve some of the problem? And then it was not planned for it, become a brand as well. People are talking about Machikia robot, and finally customer engagement. So this is a very interesting slide in my opinion. When I saw, I was a bit puzzled. A lot of investors here today, including myself, I'm an entrepreneur. I also invested in some company. Most of the time we invest in the product. That is some of the statistics. Very less into the finance process and also delivery. What interestingly is, which one has a higher return on investment for the investment? Any guess? Finance, process, offering, or delivery? Process. Okay? The answer is actually finance. And in fact, the product has the least return on investment. I'm in product, I'm a build robot. So it changed my mindset as well. Right now, I'm actually in the finance. I'm talking about leasing model. I'm not talking about my robot. Even when I first started my product, I didn't say my robot. I said the NetWiz, the software. So it changed my mindset as well, how to deliver the value to the customers. Because ultimately, the customer want the value. So I get hit up, 5 minutes. So again, transformation about how you transform during the COVID. So DF transformed a little bit to suit to the COVID scenario. And of course, resilient is the capacity to recover quickly from defeated toughness. So COVID, we cannot work. I have to pay salary. So how can we survive during this pandemic? So I will start with the story of Machikia. I'll go to it a little bit quick. And this is really what happened. So what can you do in 7 days during MCO? So we know COVID-19 started, our Prime Minister announced an MCO. I will say, okay, 2 weeks, not a big deal. I think DF can survive. And all of a sudden, on 25th March, Prime Minister said that we extend. Then I will start to worry. I have 60 staff. I need to pay $250,000 salary. And we are B2B. Our money will not come in 6 months' time. So cash flow is a huge problem. Then I said, we need to do something. And of course, at this time also, the nurses and doctor, the front runner are in a very bad position. Some pass away, and the global shortage of PPE and also masks. So they say we need to do something. So back in 25th of March, we start to sketch. This is some of the drawing that we said. We said, hey, robot can do the job to help the frontliner. Because the robot would not get infected by the virus. He doesn't need PPE. He doesn't need anything. So then we say, okay, why don't we do the robot to do disinfection? Within 2 days, we have write a simple article in our website. On the same day, actually, Mosti created a group called Mosti Autonomous Robot. He bring all the robot players in Malaysia and organization together and see what we can do. So we are very fortunate. Mosti invited us to be part of this discussion. Then within 3 days, Mr. Chia is here. We visited hospital Changi Tunku Mufrid. This is hospital UKM to understand what they need. Then they say actually they need a very simple thing, which is to send food to the patient. Every day you need to send 3 meals. So why don't you help us to do that first? Then we say, okay, our lead time normally is 3 months. They say, Yong, we don't have 3 months. We have 2 days. Can you deliver or not? So it was very tough, but again, we say we try to do it within a week. So on the 1st of April, we came up with the design. We just use whatever robot we have. Again, innovation come to play. Come up with this design. And then we start to assemble on top of April during MCO. Basically, we're not supposed to work. But of course, innovation part, we get the letter, we start work. Then I'm not sure why it happened. A lot of challenges, internet down, linear resources and whatnot. But we still managed to get it done. So this is a Machikia 19, the very first version. Then how the name appeared, just a WhatsApp, chatting. Finally, I just called Dato' Hana Fair. Hey, Dato', how about Machikia a name? They say, okay, I like it. That's why we have a MCK19. So that's how the name is here. But why Machikia name? The name was mentioned by Prime Minister. And we want to humanize the robot. We want to tell the society of Malaysian that, hey, we have hope. Robot will come and help you, kind of motivation to our nation. So we showed to hospital, to KSU, Dato' Siti Amisa, Dato' Hanafia, and Dr. Noh Halim on the robot. And then we, and all of a sudden, to be honest, I didn't expect this happen. Media covered this story. We were in television. We are in all media. And all of a sudden, we kind of are famous already. Again, this is not intentionally, but at that time, we really want to help. Then we think about innovation and marketing. We can try to leverage this, actually go to the healthcare industry. So within a few short time, so what I'm trying to conclude here is 7 days during MCO, thousands of WhatsApp messages, 100 of concept design, lots of conference meeting, tons of media coverage, and we have one Machika 19 on 70 days. You may say that, Young, that's it, enough, this is good, so and so, but we didn't stop there because our intention is not just Machika 19. We still have Skype demonstration with YB Khairi, and Dato Siti is here. And then I got tweeted here, and 21 News. So this is a very good marketing for DF Automation. And within a days, then we got a call from MIPE. They said the same thing, they need a robot. And this time they said they need in 2 days. We were like, okay, I know that right. And they said 2 days because the patient will go in there, we cannot go in anymore. So within 2 days, we managed to do this.
Have a nice day. Your food is here. Please take your tray. Thank you. Hai, makanan Anda telah sampai. Sila ambil dulang yang disediakan. Terima kasih. Have a nice day. So DOE has served for 69 days, and this is a result. We have served together with the nurses 53,000 meals, run about 35,000 meters, serve up to 1,300 patients. And from there, we see that it can actually really help. But if you look into the robot, I know that some of you say, hey, the robot macam industrial robot lah. Is it like a robot? So we put into that consideration feedback from the doctor, from the patient and whatnot. And this is the evaluation of Machika 19, DOE, and now we have a new robot. And thanks to Magic for the NTIS, we just launched it last month on this project. I think a big clap, Magic supported us. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, what are really the challenges is DF suffered 3 months of no businesses. And we are B2B business, sometimes is 6 months. The cash flow we've been impacted heavily. Still maintain full sale for 60 staff. We are very proud to say that. And project got delayed. So these are all the challenges. But again, we can't change the fact that pandemic is there. So why don't we just embrace and try to look for opportunity? And within this time, what we found out is we penetrate to healthcare within 1 month. DF tried to penetrate to healthcare for the last 8 years. And this time, we actually managed to go into healthcare already. And we have a new healthcare robot series that we planned in 2025, but now 2020, we have a robot for healthcare. And finally, we have a new investment, one from NTIS. And just 2 days ago, I got a call from the VC. They're going to invest millions of ringgit in our equity. So as a summary, I think really have to be optimistic and embrace adversity. I mean, we don't have a tunnel in this world that we can just pop, pandemic go away, right? So we just have to embrace this pandemic and try to look for opportunity and be positive about it because there's a lot of a new opportunity. I mean, right, this COVID-19, I got so many calls from agriculture, manufacturing, education. They want to digitize a lot of stuff. Focus on the value creation, and it has to be fast. And finally, be innovative and resilient. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yong. What I love most about his inspiring story is how he is proof that a necessary pivot can actually prove to be a blessing in disguise. And definitely that every challenge can be turned into an opportunity if you have an innovative mindset. So thank you again, Dr. Young, and congratulations, DF Automation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for his keynote address, let's welcome on stage the Deputy Secretary General, STI Planning and Enculturation Sector, Mosti Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Parang Abai, Elias Thomas.
Very good morning and salam sejahtera to all of you. Puan Zulaira Abubakar, Chief Executive Officer of Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, MAGIC, distinguished guests and Global Accelerator Program, Cohort 4 participant, MAGIC alumni, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to be here with you today to kick off a much-awaited program, MAGIC Iconic Global Accelerator Programs, or better known as GAP. The human race is facing the biggest crisis in World War II, and everyone from government to large multinational and local SMEs, from tech-enabled startup to conglomerate, everyone has had to reassess their priorities to ensure their survival in the new world. But it is also during this period that some of the world's most defining solutions for humankind have emerged. For us, the era of COVID-19 is a necessary lesson in providing through innovation, empowering on which human ingenuity. A recent Forbes report showed that 50% of tech unicorns, including WhatsApp and Groupon, were founded during a financial recession. Innovation will certainly play a key role in our country's economic recovery and beyond. In fact, just a few months ago, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, presented the paper to Malaysian Economic Council titled Transforming Malaysia, Fast Forward Malaysia, Accelerating Advanced Technology Adoption. In it, we argued the use of innovation to solve Malaysia's greatest challenges and explore a number of initiatives. I'm pleased to share that we launched one of those initiatives right here in MAGIC just 2 weeks ago. The National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, NTIS, will work with the 100 million ringgit of Malaysia budget to accelerate to creation, commercialize, and expansion of advanced technologies to fast-track Malaysia's recovery from the COVID-19 and progress to becoming a high-tech, high-income nation and high-tech nation. Each of our local innovators the opportunity to test product and solution in a real, conducive and controlled environment, greatly shortening the path from testing to commercialize. We're looking to drones delivery, fertilizers and pesticides in farm, reducing our reliance on manual labor, the healthcare devices that will help us in our fight against COVID-19, or the autonomous vehicle that will bring a newfound efficiency for Malaysian economies. Through MAGIC, which is the lead secretariat for NTIS, I believe we have our finger on the pulse of the innovation agenda and welcome the participant of the startup in this existing program. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry is today excited to be part of yet another initiative for startup whom we believe to be a key sector to the growth and recovery of our economy. The GAP programs continue to be one of the biggest and the most stringent accelerator programs run in Southeast Asia. In just 3 years, I'm told that Magic's GAP has taken in a total of 108 budding startups and put them on a high acceptance path to the local and regional marketplace. During this period, participating startups have raised over 116 million ringgit Malaysia in investment and generated close to 222 million ringgit Malaysia for these promising innovators. I must point out that at the ministry, we believe the success is not just about adding more capital into the market, but also putting focus and emphasis to ensure startups truly get access to the investment. For this reason, we are working to strengthen Malaysia's startup ecosystem through Magic by building, bridging, and boosting the companies represented here. Through GAP, Malaysia leading mid to late stage startup growth program, startup with an ambition to expand in the ASEAN market will have access to over $500,000 worth of benefit from reputable mentors to extensive corporate support and active investment partners ready to fund the next stage in the growth. I'd like to point out also that unlike others, this initiative does not take any equity from participating startup. The aim is clear: to build a strong ASEAN startup community by cultivating ASEAN relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, before the end of the year is up, you would have earned a feathers in your cap as a GAP alumni. This means you have our attention. My advice to you, your time here count. Keep doing what you are doing. Keep working. Keep hungry to success. Keep being passionate about solving issues. Keep innovating. Continue building solutions for the challenges you are seeing in the world. And keep pivoting to adapt the changes in your new environment. From vertical farming to contamination solution, edutech and construction to vital reality, I believe there are many creative and innovative ideas in this room that will fuel the country and region rebound within the next 18 to 24 months. The GAP programs run by Magic on average has less than a 6% acceptance rate, which is equivalent, if not lower, than some of the top Ivy League schools. So all of 40 of you have already outperformed applicants from America, Europe, and Australia, and East Asia. You are our most promising startup, and I would like to congratulate you for the remarkable achievement. This is a great time to be a tech-enabled startup in Malaysia. You are the rocket star. You are the rock star that built your business based on technology and innovation. You are the agile businesses thinking out of the box to change the game and its rule. And the most important, you have the support from the Malaysian government to make your mark in the country, the region, and the world. With that, I'd like to close with a quote from the iconic computer scientist and father of mobile computing, Alan Kay, who said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." Now, let's make giant advancement in progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Dato'. kindly remain on stage as we invite the CEO of Magic, Zulera Abu Bakar, to join you for the launch of the Virtual Gap Cohort 4 2020. Dipersilakan, Zulera. And now we humbly request Yang Berbahagia Datuk to place your palm on the launch pad to kick off this morning's launch. Ladies and gentlemen, will you count with me in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the official launch of our first ever virtual gap featuring Cohort 4 for the year 2020. Thank you to Yang Berbahagia Datuk for officiating the launch. You may return to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, now that GAP is officially launched, it's time for us to find out who are the top 40 startups who made the cut for Cohort 4 2020. Without further ado, let's turn our attention to the screen ahead because, ladies and gentlemen, here they are. Gentlemen, let's give a supportive round of applause for GAP Cohort 4 2020. Now, some of these names you've just seen are likely ones you may have heard of someday soon. Thanks to this journey they are starting on right now, they may be household names. So, ladies and gentlemen, we wish them all the best on their journey. Let's give them another round of applause. And so, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to the end of our launch for the first ever virtual gap and the introduction of Cohort 4 2020. Congratulations once again to our 40 startups. And thank you to our guests who made the time to join us today, as well as to those tuning in from all over the world for the support you have given our startups here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Parang Abai Thomas will now adjourn for the day, accompanied by Zulera Abu Bakar. For our guests, please do join us for a networking session and refreshments at the Maker Lab. Thank you once again, Yang Berbahagia Datuk, and all our guests for your presence here today. On behalf of Magic, I'm Sheahnee Iman signing off. Have a great day and a safe trip home.